Right now, we're very happy to have in our studio Hans Stark from Michigan Tile and Carpet. We've had him here many times. Good morning, Hans.
Hey, good morning, Tim.
This
Thank you.
this is a kind of a very happy occasion. Because I love old historic buildings, and I've driven by this house on Riverside for, I don't know, probably 1,000 times.
Certainly.
Anyway. I mean, we all have. And it's one of those houses that you notice out of the corner of your eye.
Oh,
and
yeah.
You say to yourself, oh boy, I wish somebody would do something with that. And so recently we reported that the Calhoun County Land Bank, which has had it for a couple of years now, was going to get serious about trying to get somebody to do something. And I guess they wore you down because you and Alicia own the building over there on Riverside Drive.
Yes, we do.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
First of all, I keep hearing that it's the oldest house in Battle Creek. Has that been confirmed, or is that just?
I really don't know about that. I've heard oldest house, oldest brick house. I've heard a lot of different, but certainly when you're looking at something that was built in 1852,
yeah,
that's a long time ago.
Sure,
60 some years.
There could be other structures that were added on to or built over.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't know. There could be some really old buildings somewhere, but it's certainly one of the oldest. And the location, it's right there at Territorial Road. And people might not realize it, but Territorial Road in the 1840s and 50s and 60s was literally the I-94 of the Pioneer era.
Correct.
I mean, there were 3 roads that went east-west across Michigan, and one of them was Territorial Road.
Pretty much from Detroit to Chicago.
Yeah. So if you were coming that way, you were going to go right past this house, at least from 1852 on.
It certainly was a location at a certain point in history.
It really was. Yeah. I mean, my goodness. So it was built by what's being called Battle Creek's first school teacher.
Correct.
And that was a nice house too. I don't think school teachers made all that much money, so he must have had some laying around somewhere.
Well, it would be great for people just to research that and go online and just put in the Shepard house and see what it comes up, because he actually got the money from a lawsuit from the Calhoun County, or not Calhoun County at that time, but they had diverted some water from the Kalamazoo River, so he won a little lawsuit, and he literally built that house. Oh. He sourced all the bricks from the clay from the Kalamazoo River. The timbers were actually brought down from Bellevue, and a lot of the stuff in the house, woodwork and all, was sourced right from that acreage that he owned. He owned a fairly large farm there.
The bricks were actually made here?
Literally made on that property, and he actually afterwards went into the brick business.
I'll be done. Well, I'd say they're pretty high quality bricks. I mean, 167 years later, they look really good.
Yeah. So. And of course, when Tim, you were in the house last week, the house is like 3 layers of brick. I mean, there's no studs inside or anything like that. And then the interior of the house is just plastered over one of the interior layers of bricks. I mean, that's how it was built back then. So.
Wow. I didn't realize it was 3 layers.
3 layers.
Closer. I took some interesting pictures in there, by the way. There were some orbs floating and some other things.
I read your online post.
I know, well, I took my first flash picture and well, wait a minute, what's that? And I took a few more, and I kept seeing these round circles kind of floating in the picture and stuff. Some people would say maybe there's a presence, some orbs in there.
I would presume that what you were seeing was a delight that somebody got visited, if there's something in there.
Yeah. Well, and that was kind of my feeling too, as I went through this old 167-year-old house Friday. It just felt like the house was saying, and I know a house can't say anything, but it just felt like there was something saying, hey, welcome to you people who are going to work on my behalf. I've been waiting for you now for 30 or 40 years, and here you are. And it was more of a welcoming feel.
There you go.
But, I think it was probably moths.
most likely, or dust in the air.
There was some dust in there, to be sure, and there were some moths in there too. And I think that maybe when I did the flash, those moths were kind of caught.
We'll leave it at that. Yeah.
Yeah. But what a beautiful old house. And it probably would not be there were it not for the Battle Creek Community Foundation.
Well, yeah, and certainly the County Treasurer Brian Winsauer.
Well, more recently, but 20 years ago.
20 years ago, they put the roof on it. Put the roof on it, and of course, when we went up there, the decking was still in good shape. So, we're putting a roof on that. Within the next 45 days, we'll have a new roof on it, and new soffits mimicking the exact woodwork and everything that was there before. So,
when you look at a building like this, now obviously it's got great historical value, but you're going to repurpose it kind of as office space, but
Correct.
Try to preserve as much of that as you can.
Yeah, we're going to preserve as much as the woodwork in the house as we can, and then when we do something or change something, we're going to make sure it's in the same type of Greek Revival style that was done before. Actually, some of the trees that are being taken down on the properties, a couple walnut trees there, beautiful cedar tree, we're having those logged and made into, it's going to be dried first, and then next year we'll cut it into trim and stuff like that, use it on the interior of the house. So we'll repurpose everything from the site.
Wow.
So.
Are you going to have to put in a parking lot?
Definitely. Yeah. There's actually a curb cut north of Riverside Court that we'll be utilizing.
Oh, okay, north toward town.
Towards town, there's a curb cut.
So it'll have its own driveway.
Correct.
Then. Yeah. Well, that'll be good because there's kind of an alleyway there that I think the neighbors behind share and everything.
Correct.
So, and originally, now the house, what you see there is missing the front porch and the back addition.
Correct. The back addition looked like it was a kitchen because the back chimney serviced the wood burning stove or something that they had in the back there. So both chimneys, the first was reported that I was going to remove one of the chimneys. We're now actually having the chimney that's bad rebuilt. So we're going to keep both the chimneys on, and then we will be adding the front porch. That'll be the first thing, probably next spring do that, and then certainly the back addition will be added back on. But the footings have to be all redone. They're all stone and collapsing.
Sure, on the porch and the rear.
Correct.
Yeah. Wow. I as I was talking to you over there Friday too, we were looking at the front of the house. And, some of the support beams under the windows look like the original hand-hewn timbers from, you said, Bellevue.
Yeah.
Probably. Others, though, look like they've been replaced with brick or concrete or something.
Yeah, there's some limestone-type sills that have been added under some of the windows. The largest percentage of them all still have the axe-cut sills underneath them, okay, the original ones. So we're right in the process. I will be working with Randy Case, who's a historical architect.
Yeah.
He helped me on my house on 651 Capitol, and he'll be involved in this also to see what we're going to do with those to make sure that they support the new windows. And so.
Yeah. And you see, you've got that craftsman's eye, because of the work you've done your whole life in Michigan tile and carpet.
Yes.
So, I can see you're looking at that, and you might see some old, dusty, burned up, chewed up trim around a doorway, but you're seeing something else.
Yeah, there's value there. Just the history of the trim. When we did the Capitol Avenue house. We repurposed every single door, every single trim. The baseboard, we literally had a company make the knife that cut the same type of design to that trim, and then had a company in Hastings run it, all the trim, the top piece of the trim in all maple. for painting.
Wow.
So,
And you talked about the other house. It was the RSVP restaurant.
Correct, yes.
It's on Capitol, sort of across kitty corner from the Emily Andrus home.
Right, pretty much across the street from Emily Andrus.
Yeah, and so you acquired that from the Petassins, what, 10 years ago or something?
Actually, I bought it. Fannie Mae owned the house. The house had been empty and abandoned for 8 years.
Oh, okay.
And that had boarded up windows also, so it sat there. It was 2 owners past the Petassins.
Oh, okay.
So Maria and Dr. Petassin have been in the house and toured it afterwards, and gave us some lovely stuff that used to hang in the house as gifts. I mean, it was just amazing, their response to it. But
when was that house built?
That house was built in 1871. So,
well, that goes back quite a ways.
Ulysses S. Grant was the president of the United States.
Wow. So you took that house, and it took you 8 years, but I mean, you completely renovated it back to its.
Correct. I mean, it had it had bed and breakfast. Also had apartment type of setup upstairs. So we turned the 1,700 square feet upstairs into living space for me and my wife, and then the downstairs is fully entertainment. Literally a cigar room with a fireplace, billiards room. I mean, it's just.
You've hosted some nonprofit fundraisers there.
We have.
Had it catered.
Yes, we have.
Yeah. Well, it's a beautiful house, and I've seen the pictures of some of the work there.
Thank you.
Just incredible. And so I'm sure that the folks at Calhoun County are thrilled that they were able to reel you in on this one and talk you into it. But yeah, they did. I mean, Ryan Wensauer, the county treasurer, kind of wore on you, didn't he?
Well, yeah, he was at a nonprofit event at our house, and he said, "Geez, Hans, you should." And I heard my wife yell across the room, something like, "No way."
Get away from my husband.
But I actually think driving by the house over and over and over again wore her down. I think she's so excited about this project, and because I think she sees the potential, and Krista Trout Edwards from the land bank, they did a lot of work to make this happen. So
they really did. I mean, they announced that, they're for the right person, you could get it for a song, and basically what it cost you $5,000.
Correct.
Yes. Going to cost you a lot more than that to live up to the agreement over the next couple of years.
Yeah, I really put a 2.5-year plan together, which included all the renovation costs, and what's going to be done before the snow falls, and what's going to be done, and then the next couple of years, a little at a time, because this is not something you're going to the bank and financing. It's going to be pretty much a cash deal. So
labor of love and
labor of love.
So, but you've got the skills and resources to make it happen. We're with Hans Stark. He is the owner of the house that was built 167 years ago on Riverside Drive. I'm trying to. What's the address of that place?
373 Riverside.
Yep, it's got quite a history. Built by Battle Creek's first school teacher. The family lived there for many, many years, but it's been. How long do you think it's been vacant?
Well, somebody has said 20-some years, but I think it's been a lot longer than that.
Yeah, kind of looks like it.
Yeah.
Hans Stark is our guest from Michigan Tile and Carpet, but his company, or he and his wife Alicia, have bought the house at 373 Riverside, a 167-year-old home, which some are saying is the oldest home in Calhoun County. We don't know that for sure, but it's certainly one of them, and probably because some, like my wife said last night, there could be older homes that were of wood structure that were built over or added onto and refaced.
Sure.
We don't know. There could be some old cabin from before that looks like a house now, but certainly one of the oldest structures in town, a beautiful house. Yeah, you've got a real passion for this, and you had it for a while.
Yeah. I one thing the magazine This Old House, I get that. I've gotten it for years, and one of the only things I read in there is the second to the last page is always a house that somewhere in this country that they're trying to save, and you read the history of the house, and they have the pictures in it, and I just love that, and You know, like I said, the house up on Capitol, but I've done other houses in town. I'm just finishing up one on Woodward Street that the interior and the woodwork is just phenomenal. And that's the beauty and the charm of these homes.
And that one goes back to the 20s.
1922, that house was built, yeah.
Yeah. I had a couple of pictures that I got from the library of the 373 Riverside house. It does show that front porch and that back addition.
Yeah.
So there are some pictures that will help you in figuring that out and rebuilding that. What's the plan then? Once you get it all done, what are you hoping that this building will be available for?
Well, a lot of people have asked me online if I'm going to live there, and that's not the case. But I thought the best goal would be for that property is to turn it into something more commercially. It's zoned down there commercially. Mm-hmm. In fact, the land bank's program was under their commercial restoration program that they fit this sale into, and so the environmental studies, all the engineering studies were all done by the county. Thank you for that, because that's a costly endeavor.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, that would keep most people from even being able to consider it.
Yeah. So, and over the years, the county had done that. Brian, I believe, was the force behind that, and then so if I turn it into some sort of offices, still trying to keep the history of the home.
Sure. It would make a great insurance office, yes, or law office, or a lot of different things. And you're going to have a driveway and a parking area there, and
plenty of room actually there. So
yeah, but it's just that somebody who does their business here in Battle Creek, if they have an office like that, it just says so much about, hey, we're local, we care about the community, we're here. It's going to be a great piece of property.
You're a good marketer, Tim. I like that.
Yeah, give me a call when you get it done. We'll put some stuff together. But no, I mean, it is just very exciting to see this start to get off the ground now. So the first thing you're going to do is get the roof on here very shortly.
Yeah, you'll see some changes within the next 60 days. The roofing, the soffits are pretty much collapsing on the house. All the wood coming off, that's all going to be rebuilt, and the site's being cleared here in the next of all the trees and stuff. And like I said, we're going to repurpose the trees that are on there. As you know, when you see there's quite a few dead trees on that property. They'll be all taken down, sure. And so really want to secure the outside of the house. So that the next step would be the windows after that. So Andy Sims from Sims Electric has already put the temporary power source outside.
Oh, great. Yeah, so, you're going to need that. You're not going to use all hand saws.
No, sir.
Yeah, you're going to have some power tools there. You actually did all the work pretty much on the house over in Capitol, yes, over those 8 years.
Yeah.
And probably, you'll have somebody else up on the roof. At least I would if I were you.
Yeah.
But you're going to do a lot of this craft work.
The interior work, most of the trim work on the interior, I'll do myself. The interior work, and certainly we have our designers that'll put their 2 cents worth as to what's going to be the inside look like. But yeah, but I also had help from plasters and plumbers and electricians, and everything we do on anything, we pull all the permits, have them all inspected, and some of these old houses are a little bit of a challenge, and the city's been pretty good about that. In fact, we've actually even met with the city when we went through the house the first time to see what type of restrictions that we're going to have on that house. So
yeah, well, very smart. Hey, we look forward to getting an update as you get a little further along on the project. I can't wait for 2.5 years from now when we get to go through for the open house.
There you go.
And have the before and after pictures.
Thanks, Tim.
Hans Stark, Michigan Tile and Carpet owner of the house at 373 Riverside Drive in Battle Creek.